Rocky versus Rambo. Two Sylvester Stallones going at it. The greatest soldier versus the greatest boxer ever. But who'd win in a fight? Well, today, that's what we're going to find out. And of course, I'm not talking a fight out in the jungles of Vietnam, because Rocky would just be killed from a mile away, running around in his boxing gloves and his bright striped pants. But I'm also not talking about a fight solely in the ring, because that's where Rocky can dominate. No, I'm talking a good old-fashioned, no-holds-barred street fight. So, who wins? Well, let's get to it. What's up, guys? I'm Daniel, and this is Danco. We do fight breakdowns every week, plus the occasional power ranking video like this one, or things like that. So if that seems interesting to you, we'll sit back and enjoy the video. Hit that like button. If you want to, well, hit the subscribe button while you're at it. Now let's get to it.
Survive a war, you gotta become war.
A former Vietnam vet and highly skilled Green Beret, Rambo was taught to survive, taught to stay alive behind enemy lines, taught to fight, taught to kill, until he became the very best at it. Like legit able to take on small armies, he's that good. Now Rambo is always ready to stand up for what he believes is right, help those who can't help themselves. And while he might not start the fight, you can be sure he's gonna finish it. Whether that's against a small town police force, or the Afghan army, or Mexican cartels, or whoever is standing in his way. During his 3-year tour of duty in Vietnam, Rambo had 59 confirmed kills, going on to be decorated with 2 Silver Stars, 4 Bronze Stars, 4 Purple Hearts, the Distinguished Service Cross, and the Congressional Medal of Honor. So just insanely decorated, one of the most highly touted soldiers in United States history. He's a master marksman of any weapon, like literally any weapon. He'll just be running around spraying bullets all over the place, red sweatband flapping in the wind, not even looking at his target, and still hitting everybody. He's just that good. Put any gun in his hand and he can instantly kill you with it. He's also a really talented archer, and he'll use this whenever he needs to be stealthy, or whenever he wants to be the exact opposite of stealthy and just wants to blow some stuff up, or blow some people up. He also loves his knives. He's killed countless people with them. He's actually really good at throwing these things, and he's also just able to use it to help him survive in the wilderness, work through problems, anything like that. Of course, it also just comes in real handy when he's got to face down a big dude in a one-on-one fight, got to square off in unarmed combat. And this is where Rambo can once again really shine. Because I mean, just look at that body. Like, if this is what it means to serve in the army, if you get this body, well then sign me up. And Rambo is able to put all those huge muscles to good use. He's crazy strong. He's decapitated a Burmese soldier with just one swing from his machete. He sliced another dude's head clean in half with a meat cleaver. Rambo is definitely crazy strong. He's broken bones, straight up pulled out bones, snapped necks. Rambo one time even straight up tore out a dude's throat. Like, what? I didn't even know that was possible. He's crazy fast. He can dodge and evade gunshots, outrun soldiers, and even dogs while they were chasing after him. And he has no problem easily pulling out his pistol and shooting down several people before any of them get a shot off. And then Rambo has some crazy high durability. The guy is insanely tough. Can just take attacks and keep on going. No injury is going to stop him from killing you. Got that do or die mentality. He can survive super high falls, explosions, getting shot with bullets, getting impaled, some serious torture. The guy just keeps on going through all of it. Like, he'll get hurt, scream out in pain, then a little while later, Rambo just keeps on going like nothing had ever happened in the first place. But maybe the best thing that Rambo has going for him is that he is smart. He's an incredibly gifted soldier. His mind is just perfectly crafted for war and combat. He's a master of stealth, blending into his surroundings, and Rambo is honestly amazing at hiding from the enemy, sometimes even hiding in plain sight. Basically, he's a master at guerrilla warfare, which also means that he's really good at making improvised traps. He's constantly able to use his terrain and his surroundings to his advantage. That's really a big reason why he's been able to kill a lot of his enemies and survive a whole lot of his wars, because he's just better at traps and strategy than you.
When you're pushed, killing's as easy as breathing. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
Rocky Balboa is a heavyweight boxer and two-time heavyweight champion, famous for his indomitable spirit, extreme tenacity, and ferocious body attack. Rocky is one of the most remarkable fighters you'll ever see, operating as a southpaw, but he'll often switch up stances and fight right-handed. He's also a hybrid fighter, possessing the qualities of an inside fighter, outside fighter, and brawler, but is really known for swarming an opponent, advancing on them quickly, driving them into the ropes, and setting on them with a devastating body attack to wear them down and beat them. Rocky was never really the most trained or skilled fighter. He's a slugger at his core. In fact, Rocky never really learned to properly fight until Rocky III, when he trained with Apollo Creed. Before then, he was lacking proper and fundamental things like basic footwork. But after his training with Apollo, Rocky is a whole other animal. And really, since the beginning, Rocky has been no stranger to training and having that bring out the best in him. His training typically contains a bunch of long distance running, a whole bunch of push-ups and crunches and other things, bag training and sparring and a whole bunch of footwork stuff. And when he was out there training to fight Drago, well, he went out in the wilderness, moving rocks, cutting down trees, climbing mountains, that sort of thing. Because by that point, Rocky was already the absolute best fighter he could be. At this point, it was purely just endurance and physical training. No sparring necessary. And man, is Rocky a fighter. And the two primary things that define Rocky as a fighter has to be his indomitable will and his cast iron jaw. In his first matchup against Apollo, he was able to punch so hard, he was able to lift Apollo up into the air a few times. But more impressively, Rocky was punched over 100 times in this fight, primarily hits to the head, and he didn't go down. In fact, Apollo's trainer said that Rocky had received the worst beating that he had ever seen, and yet Rocky still kept on getting back up. Then in his second match with Apollo, well, Rocky received a beating that was considered twice as bad as last time. Apollo landed over 200 punches this time around, which again, the majority of those punches hit him in the head. And ultimately, Rocky didn't go down and won the fight, getting up 1 second faster than Creed, becoming the new heavyweight champion. His first fight against Clubber Lang was just ugly. Rocky was quickly knocked out and he was just horribly outclassed. But his second time around, after training with Apollo, well, Rocky was a whole different beast. His speed way outclassed Lang's, to the point where Rocky was landing 3 punches for every one from Clubber. Rocky was blocking, pulling off rope-a-dopes. He was like a whole different fighter. And then there's his fight with Ivan Drago, easily his toughest and fiercest fight in the series. Drago hit him at least 200 times, and he averages almost 2,000 psi with each punch, so more than 4 times the force necessary to crack a skull, and 2 times the bite force from a tiger. And Rocky took it all, to the point where Drago said that Rocky had almost inhuman durability and didn't understand how Rocky kept on getting back up each time. End of the day, Rocky is known as maybe the best boxer ever, a 2-time world heavyweight champion with a pro record of 57 wins, with 54 of them being knockouts.
That guy's great.
No, listen, he's only a man. You can beat him because you're a tank, kid. You're a greasy, fast, 200-pound Italian tank. Go through him. Run over him.
So, who wins here? Who's coming out on top? Now, here's the thing to remember about this fight. It's not an all-out assault with knives and guns and everything. But it's also not a boxing match in the ring, following boxing rules. It's a street fight, a no-holds-barred street fight. And that's going to be such a big difference between the two. Because when it comes to fighting, Rocky is ultimately just an athlete. Boxing is a sport, Rocky is a professional athlete, and there are rules built around each of his fights that are designed to provide a good show for the audience, but also to minimize the odds of serious injury for the fighters. And sure, that doesn't always happen, and Rocky still does definitely know how to take a beating, but that is the gist of the sport. And even though in this situation, Rocky wouldn't have to actually follow those rules, he could do whatever he wants, all of his training and everything that he's good at is all based on the assumption of working within the rules. On the other hand, Rambo is a killer. The kind of fights that Rambo is trained for don't have rules. He fights opportunistically, he fights dirty, and he fights to kill. And that's just not what Rocky is trained to deal with, giving Rambo a big advantage here in the fight. It's basically the classic boxer versus MMA fighter argument, which most people would agree that the MMA fighter would win in that scenario, especially if it's a no-rules street fight. However, the one big advantage that Rocky does have here is just his durability. Rocky is much tougher than maybe anyone Rambo has ever fought before. He was fighting with Drago for 15 rounds, where Drago could punch with way more than enough force to bust a skull open. And Rocky went for 15 rounds. That kind of durability is just insane. And also just the power. Despite his smaller frame, Rocky probably hits much harder than anyone Rambo has ever fought. But at the end of the day, I just gotta go with the ability to fight outside the rules and fight to kill. Rambo has proven himself pretty freaking tough as well, so he'll be able to take some punishment from Rocky, and he's pretty strong himself. But the biggest thing is just Rambo fights to end the fight and kill his opponent. Rocky just fights for fighting's sake. Rambo could straight up tear out Rocky's throat. He would break bones, he would snap a neck. None of that would even faze him at all. Meanwhile, Rocky is just a boxer. The world's best boxer, I don't want to take that away from him, but in a street fight against the world's best soldier and killer, well, I don't see that working out too well. Rambo wins. But what do y'all think? Sound off in the comments down below. I know you're gonna have thoughts and feelings on this one for sure. If you stuck around this long and made it to the end of the video, that's amazing. Thank you so much for watching and for supporting us. And if you want to go subscribe, well, go subscribe. You're going to see more videos like this one every single week. I'll see y'all then. I'll see y'all next time.